Welcome back. In this third and final part of leading digital transformation, I'll cover the remaining three building blocks described by the MIT researchers that we believe are necessary for successful digital transformation. So we've already covered the two building blocks in the last module about shared customer insights and accountability frameworks and how critical they are in order to understand the viewpoint of the customer and make sure that the accountabilities in the organization really encourage experimentation and collaboration and tolerance for failing with some of the ideas. In this section, we're going to talk about operational backbone. It's the issue around how do we really integrate in with the core back-end systems and business processes. That was one of the biggest challenges at Disney with the big Magic Band digital transformation. Then we're going to talk about digital platform. How do we essentially unify all of the challenges across the operational backbone into a seamless digital technology platform and operational platform? And finally, how do we gain the advantages of all the people in the entire partner ecosystem through what MIT calls the external developer platform? So those three building blocks we're going to go through today, which are all also very critical enablers for successful digital transformation that you'll want to put in place as a leader in your organization. So starting with operational backbone. So most large organizations, in fact, probably all large organizations, have a variety of different business processes, databases, data lakes, applications, legacy and new, and all sorts of different technologies. And all of those have complex interconnections. They may have all kind of been developed in different silos, in different departments or business units, and they've all got interconnections. And it's a bit of a siloed mess, as you can see in the high-level picture on the slide. Disney was no different than that. In Disney, we had to serve up data for that planning and booking experience that came from multiple business units. And we had to do that within milliseconds so that the customer opening up the My Disney Experience app could see at a glance their hotel booking, their transportation, their Disney's Magical Express bus, their dining reservations, their tickets, maybe their tickets for not just their family but connected parties that are traveling with them. All of that needed to be accessible, visible, and then modifiable within milliseconds in a digital experience, essentially like the Facebook wall of the Disney theme park experience. So while the diagram on this screen is a little simplistic, but it's essentially what we did. For those of you who are a little more technical, we basically had each of these siloed applications and data repositories publish their data onto an enterprise services bus, and then we built what you see on the right on top of that enterprise services bus. So that's kind of like the infrastructure layer here. And then we built for the NGE and Magic Band experiences and the Disney's My Disney Experience, we built shared technology, shared applications, shared data, and shared processes on top of this bus that abstracted us from all of the complexity on the left. It wasn't going to be feasible to rebuild everything in the entire Disney World structure, and it's not likely to be feasible in any large organization to do so. So it was abstracted away to minimize the disruption to those home-based legacy systems. So the advantage of that shared operational backbone, that operational backbone, is that it allowed the building of that digital planning tool in the Walt Disney website and the mobile app so that all of these experiences, every aspect of the theme park experience, could be booked in one easy-to-use tool. So you can see here, this particular customer is looking at one day at, they're staying at a particular resort hotel called the Port Orleans. They're going to Magic Kingdom that day. And at a glance, they can see their dining reservation, their events that they've planned, and then all of the fast passes to go on specific rides, like Dumbo the Flying Elephant. So that was a very brief version of the sort of operational backbone. Fixing the operational backbone is essentially about enabling digitization. So enabling is using digital to actually improve the way the current business works. But you also need to be able to build new digital offerings, new digital businesses, right? That really bring new sources of revenue or new sources of customer engagement into the company. So at Optus, as an example, we are building out a strategy called Living Network into the My Optus app, which is the concept of controlling aspects of your network experience from your mobile phone. So the ability to see your performance of your network and see the towers around you on a map, or to pause your internet, both on your home Wi-Fi and on your mobile devices at the same time with a couple of button presses. So that whole digital platform is built into the app. It's also built into layers below that, data and business and infrastructure components, and ultimately connected back into the network. That's the core thing, of course, of the business of companies like Optus. So that's the same type of concept that we used at Disney, and is here in this MIT framework. Digital platforms are a repository of business data and infrastructure components that combined together allow you to rapidly build and configure digital offerings for customers like the Optus Pause offering. So as an example on the platform, we spoke about the core tapping to enter, tapping to pay, tapping to go into your hotel room to open the hotel room door. But there was a whole lot of other businesses within Disney. One of them was called PhotoPass, or the photo imaging business. And essentially it was built originally as the idea of taking a photo of every single ride vehicle on a big roller coaster ride like this one. And when you got off the ride, you would go into a separate room as you were exiting and see a whole bunch of screens that had photos captured on all of those screens. You could see everybody's photo. You'd look and you'd find hopefully your ride vehicle, and you could potentially get them to then generate a print or even a CD-ROM. So obviously we wanted to modernize that experience. We didn't really want that wall of screens, because actually what most guests were starting to do with mobile phones is take a photo of the screen. So there was no revenue to Disney. It was not a good experience. They had to hunt for their particular photo. If they took too long, the photo was off the screen and they missed out. The concept essentially was that now you're wearing the Magic Band, we can link your ride vehicle with your online identity and your account. So the photo would pop up in your My Disney Experience app. You'd get a notification as you got off the ride. You could see the photo. You could buy the photo if you haven't already bought the package, or you could buy the package to unlock all of your photos, and you could instantly share it on your social media, which was a great thing for Disney because it just drew more people in your family and friends network, in your Facebook, wherever, to look at your picture of you screaming down one of the rides. By the way, this is part of my team that was on there, and their kids that worked for me. So as we also explored concepts of how the dining experience could be revolutionized with the Magic Band and digital technologies that we invented. So the platform could be extended into improving the dining experience. So this is a restaurant that was built at the heart of the Magic Kingdom, where if you wanted to, you could in advance order your food up to 30 days in advance for you and your family. And when you walked in to the restaurant, as you walked through over the bridge into the restaurant, this was obviously the Belle and Beauty and the Beast concept, it would already send the order of what you'd ordered in advance to the kitchen. So the kitchen would start preparing your food as you're walking into the restaurant. You could select any table and it would recognize your location, your table, and the cast members would bring the food to you. And it was a much faster experience. It was meant to be a quick restaurant, even though it was a beautiful luxury dining experience with good food. The whole experience was you could just walk in, have your meal, and walk out without any friction in that experience. The next concept that we used the platform and all the data that was being generated to start improving the types of data that guests could see about wait times. Now, this wasn't just good for the guests, it was also really ultimately very good for the operation, because it allowed the guests to make choices about which line do they go into, which actually level loaded the amount of people in the park. So the park felt less crowded, we could let more people in, and essentially Disney sold more tickets. Better customer experience, more revenue, better operational efficiency. So the original way that we calculated wait times was in one of two ways. Either we had an experienced cast member look at the line, oh, it's about a 30-minute wait, or a 60-minute wait, or even a 195-minute wait. Or we gave cards called flick cards after another Disney character. Everything in Disney was named after characters. To someone at the back of the line, and then they gave that card when they eventually reached the front of the line to the cast member. The cast member typed it into a system that then calculated the wait time, and they stuck that wait time on a sign like you see on the left-hand side. Of course, in the digital experience, everyone started to carry mobile phones and using the mobile app, the MDX app, and they want to be able to see at a glance all the rides near them on a map and what are their wait times. So that's the experience we wanted from a digital perspective, but there was a gap there. But we used the digital platform that had been built out in the NGE program, because everybody wearing those magic bands, ultimately we pinged them at all parts of the line and calculated using AI, machine learning technology, what the most accurate wait time was. So the data, all the data from all the guests in the line that were carrying magic bands, which were almost all of them, ultimately fed into this massive data model, and the accuracy of the weights was much better, and you didn't have cards and you didn't have cast members doing all of these manual kind of things. So operational efficiency and customer experience and ultimately better revenues, all in one relatively simple idea and concept. So the other thing we were able to do, having built all of these platform components, is build new digital offerings outside the Walt Disney World context. So we didn't take everything that was built at Walt Disney World for Disneyland, because it was a different business, much smaller business, only 3 hotels, and the president of Disneyland decided he did not want to bring in the magic band, because it was $5 basically per magic band, and most guests at Disneyland only came for 1 day or perhaps 2 days. So also at the time when we started this project, everybody was using smartphones. Previously at Disney World, when it got started, it was only a few guests that were starting to use smartphones. So we took advantage of the fact that everybody had smartphones. We also made it a paid ticket add-on product called MaxPass. But we leveraged a lot of the digital platform that was built at Disney World and built this for Disneyland in a tiny fraction of the time and at a tiny fraction of the cost of the Disney World implementation. And then we did some similar things for Shanghai Disneyland, which had just opened, but Shanghai was having some big issues with queuing in the park. So we brought some of these concepts and digital components over to Shanghai as well. So the last of the building blocks that I'm going to cover, which also typically is the last one that organizations really build, because you kind of need the digital platforms, you need the accountability framework, you need the shared customer insights, you need the operational backbone underneath all of that before you can actually start externalizing the digital platform to let other partners build on top of your digital platform. So the concept here is this is a digital platform that's now been enabled for different partners to contribute to and use, where they can plug in to the APIs, the application programmer interfaces on the right-hand side in this diagram at different points of the experience, and add content or add different capabilities, perhaps sell or expand upon some of the concepts, things that you wouldn't do in-house, where they brought other experiences, other capabilities on top of this. Disney really didn't do this in a public way, but they did work with a lot of different third parties within the umbrella of that NGE program. So we had a lot of different vendors and suppliers and engagement partners, and some of them are still working there, evolving the experience. So Frog Design, we did a lot of the creative design of the Magic Band and the touch points. A lot of the software was built by Accenture, Capgemini. A lot of the server hardware in the park was supplied by HP. Synapse built the actual Magic Band, designed all of the RFID components, and another small provider provided some kiosk design. And of course, the Disney Parks and Resorts digital team that I was a big part of built most of the digital experiences. So it was definitely a collaboration across multiple organizations and partners. So to wrap up, really, I guess just to summarize a few of the digital transformation leadership lessons, you've got to think about both the case for change and coming up with a digital strategy that's based on real customer needs, real customer insights, which of course is one of the building blocks as well. These are not independent concepts. But once you've got the digital ideas and digital strategy formulated, you need the capabilities to implement it and evolve it. And again, this is not a static thing. These things will evolve over time. They're co-dependent. Both of them are critical to the success of digital transformation. If you just focus on the product strategy and don't fix the underlying accountabilities and technology challenges in the platforms, then the digital strategy will never be able to be implemented. And you won't have a good digital strategy unless it's informed by customer insights and the real capabilities of the platform and the partner ecosystem. The digital strategy needs to consider the business context, the ecosystem of the partners, as well as the tech, as well as trends, as well as the customer needs and the internal capabilities. The building blocks need to be worked together with the strategy, and it is a really great idea, as Disney found, to incubate and build prototypes with a digital team that's separate from the core teams to move fast initially, but then it's really critical to adapt the structures, adapt the building blocks to integrate with the business stakeholders and the overall enterprise to make change management a simpler and easier journey. It's very, very good practice to test and adjust and integrate on a small scale, whether you're doing $1 billion transformation or something a little bit smaller. So we've reached the end of the Leading Digital Transformation module of the Learn to Lead program for 2023. I hope you've enjoyed this and learned a few things about how to lead digital transformation in your organization. I'd encourage you to take a look at the readings that were shared and have a go at the multiple choice quiz. I've included a few Disney carrots in there. And overall, good luck on your transformation leadership journey. Thank you.